Okay, so I'm going to put the first question in the chat. Well, you guys know me, and my whole purpose here today is to kind of get this mastermind. I want you to give me some of your thoughts and expand my thinking regarding a few major things that are going that we're going to be doing. One is we are designing and implementing a warrior networking website that will include integrations with whatever we do on Meetup, Be Connected, and a number of other things. So one of the things I'm looking for from you guys at this point, because we're in the design stage for the website, is to get some insights into things that would be helpful for you as members in this group, where it would add value beyond what you're doing today, or what you're investing in the network. So my big question here, that's kind of specifically, so don't spend a lot of time thinking about website design, even though like Don and some others, you kind of have wrestled that one to the ground for your own business or somebody else's business, and that's okay. But I really need some input from you in terms of what would be helpful for you in your business relative to, first, a website. So what would double your impact this coming year? And I'm really looking at both effectiveness and efficiency. So in other words, you may be doing things, we may be doing things in our business, and we become, it's kind of like muscle memory, we're doing this, but it would be nice if we could have this, this functionality, this capability. So anyway, so you with me? So that's that question. On the beyond the website, the other thing we're doing is we're going to restructure some of our meetings. So the Wednesday meeting will continue to be as it is. We will continue to do it based upon feedback from everybody. And frankly, we had a pretty full room last week and still had people virtually, and I still got too many people that want to be connected virtually. And interestingly enough, we're also seeing some people that are not in our geographic area that are talking about now wanting to tap into our Wednesday meetings to get to know people in the network and that kind of thing from the Be Connected community. So that's exciting to me in terms of being able to bring people. I mean, Casey can have her patches shipped to whomever in the world, right? Or I don't know if there's restrictions outside the U.S., but I'm just saying there's a lot of opportunities to be connected to other markets that through this. So that's one of the, hopefully, the value adds people will see. And then the other thing is frequency of this meeting. So that's another topic. And also an upcoming mixer, or things that are all on the table. So and the other thing is just some feedback on membership requirements and that kind of thing, in terms of right now, it's the requirement is that you attend 2 meetings a month to maintain your membership, the status, if you will, of membership. So I've got a list of things here. So one of the things I would like, without getting into specifics, and that's why I created kind of the general, what I would call the general question of what would help you double your impact in 2023, is that's what Warrior Networking is about, right? We're about helping you in your business. If I'm not helping you, have more impact, be more efficient, be more effective, then I'm wasting my time. and I invest way too much of my most valuable asset in trying to keep us, you know, trying to serve this community to just feel like we're not providing value. And I know we are, but I mean, from at least for some folks, maybe not for everybody even here, but so that's kind of the table. So who would like to make the first volley in here? Go ahead, Ricky. You popped your hand up there.
Well, I would like to suggest that this particular mastermind meeting could be not every week, but I don't know, once a month, to make it more special. That it's not like the where we meet once a week in person regularly or online if you can't meet. I think that would help you and your time that you spend, but also I think it would kind of make the meeting a little bit more special. I'd like to see on the website a place where we could go to the website, click onto it, and be on an online meeting, whichever one is happening. You know, a real simple way to connect. I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, some guru may know how to do that. You know, because it has.
Oh yeah,
to
that's doable. That's actually.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring my pad. Randy, I know you're a good note taker too. If you would do me a favor, and anybody, by the way, you know, just make some notes so I don't miss something, because I have ADD, so I may get distracted. So
and I know on a website is pretty easy. I would love to see a calendar on the website that you could go to the calendar on the website and know all about the meetings. And sometimes I think that when you send out emails,
right,
that's not always catching everybody, because I mean, why do you think that the sales gurus now are pushing text? Because you get your text before you get your emails.
Right.
And there has been some times that I have made up an email to give to people who have to have an email, you know, because you don't want to get a 10% discount or something. And because my regular email was getting so crowded, I couldn't decipher everything. So somehow, if we could incorporate a calendar, I think that would be a great thing. So anyway,
Ricky, just to comment on that, if I may, I think we need two forms of communication because people are different. I'm not a good go to the website kind of a guy every time to see what's going on. So I rely on the push approach when David sends out meeting notices and links and things like that. So I think perhaps to satisfy both types, both would be, I think, good ideas to do them both. It's a tad more work, but I think by putting it on the website, it's sort of like, oh, I lost the email or I didn't know what I did with it. Well, I know I can go to the website and find out what's the most current link. So I think my suggestion would be to do both. It does require a little more work, but anyhow, other thoughts?
Yeah, keep going, guys. This is good.
Casey, anything on your mind, kid?
I like multiple reminders. I like the notice that we get saying that the meeting's coming up, respond here. I like an email. My phone gets wonky on me, so I can't rely on my phone to transmit a text message to me. But even though my computer's wonky too, but that multiple touch. Although, how did you guys know to come to this web address? I didn't get that notice.
I was
Yeah, you
on
did.
with David, so
Yeah, you did. I did a reply all, and you should have been on that. If you're not, you have a problem from the meeting. But you might not have noticed because it's just one line that says urgent, use the new link. So and so yeah, I'm not sure. So maybe you're sending all my stuff to junk mail, Casey. I don't know. But anyway, you found it. You found it. In fact, I've got. I'm going to step away for 1 second. Keep going. I can hear you, but I don't want you to hear my. I'm going to mute myself because I'm calling Todd. He's not able to get in.
Well, how I found the new address was I went the old-fashioned way from Meetup, and it didn't work twice. So I said, "Uh-oh, something's up." So then I went and checked the email, and there was the email that I hadn't checked, and so that's how I found Casey. That's how I found it. But
Well, that's what I tried too. I tried doing that because I did it. I'm a little bit slower than you. I did it 3 times. And I kept getting an error message or saying, this is not protected. You're going to be hacked. I go, whoa, what's this? And so I'd back out and I'd try another one. And then the same thing. It's like something's really wrong. And I went to the email, but I didn't see anything. So.
And I have personal issues with Meetup for some reason. I try to go to it, and oftentimes either I'm typing in the wrong link or whatever, and I fail. So I like the push approach personally, and I have no problems getting it because I get it on my phone and my computer, and so I find it. Other thoughts?
well,
Al or Bernie?
I think Meetup sometimes can be a hassle, but
Yeah.
I've noticed that if a meetup group has a lot of RSVPs, that's what people are looking at.
Good
a lot of times in networking, they'll see a group and they don't have very many RSVPs, so they say, well, that group is probably dying and on its way out. So if you're not RSVPing on the meetup group, it might be missing something, and also it's a lot of money. If we're wasting money, we're wasting money. But I don't think it is if everybody would RSVP.
Sidebar on that, just popped into my head is, I haven't been on regularly all the time, but it does seem that we get the same 6 or 7 or 8, 9 people every time. And yet we got a lot of other people in the group. How do we encourage or otherwise facilitate or attract other members of the group to participate in the networking portion, which to me is the most valuable aspect of what we do? Any thoughts on that, if that's appropriate?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of some of these things will do that. Will help us with that, I think. So I'm digging the thoughts, but that's a great question. That's another way of thinking about it is not just I'm not unconcerned about people participating in the meetings. What I'm really want to focus on is what is not just participate in the meetings, because there's all kinds of people out there with all kinds of groups trying to get you to participate in their groups, trying to get you to network. You're all out there running around like a lot of people. I see it all the time. I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm whatever. I'm trying to get some traction. I'm wanting us to be laser focused on what would be really useful to the people that choose to show up here and invest in this mastermind right now, and expand that to anybody else. I mean, obviously, if it's providing value to you, then the question is, how does other people find that value? How do we get that market? How do we get that message out? And then how do we support those people when they show up with things that are meaningful to them? So Casey, why don't you go? Casey, you started to say something. I think we cut you off like 3 or 4 times. So go ahead.
Well, on the website or in a meeting, if we could devote time to a business idea or problem that we can solve together, or some, we all have, there's different aspects of our businesses that don't apply to everybody, but there are some generic ones that would apply. And if we could post those and let people know that they're going to be addressed and discussed, that might be a way to have some conversation or to invite folks over, or to promote it that way, that we are solving some business concerns, which could include anything from AI to ChatGPT to getting new customers, or how to stand up in front of a crowd and do a presentation. What are some hints,
So I think, Casey, I think that's a great idea, sort of like hot topics. What are the things, maybe we won't have a topic for each meeting, but maybe we would have a handful of topics that we kind of cycle through that people seem to be interested in, or like I said, hot topics. And then when we think we've got them covered, we take them sort of off the list and just keep working on what is important to everybody today to grow their business.
Yeah, along those same lines, a couple of thoughts that come to my mind. One is the idea of a discussion panel for certain subjects. It doesn't lend itself to all the networkers, unfortunately. I mean, how much of a discussion panel can you have over the patches that Casey has? I mean, right now we have an expert of one,
Right.
So you can't have much of a discussion panel for that. But in like financial services, you could have it. I would assume in real estate there are enough people where you could discuss your thoughts and ideas. The other thing is perhaps having an on-network discussion panel, if you will, where you can say, I need help with a mortgage. And you put that out as a request. And then whoever responds to that request in terms of members get their ideas and what makes their particular solution stand out in their own minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alan. Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's good. Again, go ahead, Robbie.
And that is a suggestion box.
Yeah.
Put in what they want to talk about, and we can gear a meeting towards these, whatever people want to talk about. Because what Casey said was perfect. People need to know what these, way to talk about what people want to talk about.
Right.
Suggestion box.
Yeah. How do we, in other words, I see that as how do we leverage the skills and expertise and experience of the people in the network to help other people in the network who lack the skills, experience, and et cetera. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And
So like there's some new people that are maybe toying with starting a business.
Right.
Maybe they're in the corporate world like me. And when I started this business, I had no clue what to do first. There was I went online saying, is there a timeline or an outline? Are there steps I should be following? Should I do this first? What could I do? And there was nothing. And so I'm reaching out to various people, but because they're not familiar with this particular business, and I'm not saying that
Right.
they have to, I mean, it could be a generic business principle, but nobody was able to give me any hints. I was asking specific things about the computer. Should I do this with the computer? Or should I get this program? Nobody knew. It's really interesting how we could help people.
Yeah. Ricky?
I wish that we could somehow incorporate the word and the idea of mentorship. That's what she's talking about. Are we mentoring people? Both of the things that I've been successful at, I have had mentors. In the manufacturer's rep business, I worked for a guy for 6 years, and then he sent me out on my own to do the same thing. And the same way with the music and recording business, I ran across a a Grammy Award winning musician from Nashville who escaped Nashville and came back to Texas, and he has been mentoring me and telling me, do this, don't do that. So it's almost like that is a dying thing, that people don't want to have a mentor, or mentors are far and few between. But man, when you're starting a business, leaving the corporate world and going in business for yourself, if you don't have a mentor, your chances of success go way down.
Yeah, and along that lines, I was thinking about that subject is, how can we, the active members in the group, be more proactive in reaching out to people? Because, I was talking to Fred Mungay the other day, and he went to a meeting and I wasn't there, and there was a new person, and he spoke to her about me and gave her my contact information, and she said she wanted to talk to me. Now, she never reached out to me. Now, that's not the first time that that's happened. And I think people are shy in reaching out to people they don't know. They don't know. They're afraid, well, what if I ask a stupid question? Things like that. And if we could somehow get that information that they're interested, and perhaps we, as the more active members in the group, be more proactive in reaching out to those people and say, hey, Fred Mungay talked to me, said he chatted with you, and I should have done that, and I didn't. So thoughts on that, Casey? And then Bernie.
What happened to me was, I don't think people are shy about reaching out. I think they're afraid that they're going to be sold to, that somebody's going to try. That's what happened to me. I had 5 people. Oh, I can do this for you, and I can do this for you, for $75 an hour. And it's like, whoa. I just want to ask a couple questions here, And so that's what might be.
Good point.
People.
Good point.
But if we let it be known, you go to the website, submit your question, or if we have, or sometimes I'll go to websites and they already have previously asked or frequently asked questions where you can have even a very shortened form of it. And then if you want to know more, then who to go to or who to approach, something. I'm telling you, I was floundering, and I still am. I still don't have that mindset of an entrepreneur because I've never done it before. And so I'm learning as I'm going, and I'm sure I'm making a bazillion mistakes that could have been avoided. I just don't know who to go to.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good thought. Bernie, you've been waiting a bit.
Collectively, I see us as an underutilized brain trust, and that is that if I had a one-click way of posing a question, a Q&A kind of one-click that is blasted out to the membership, I think that would be a good idea. The other thing is the RSVP. Are we relying on Meetup for RSVPs? Is that how we do it?
Yeah, that's how it has been, and I think that's one of the things in the structure of the website. There's going to be a public component, which is basically what I would call the non-member side, is what the vision that I have, and I'm interested in any thoughts on that.
Okay.
And then there's going to be a membership side that says, okay, if you're paying your $2 a week, or again, it's not the money, and not that. That's the main thing is if you're committed and you've done the things, then you have a login that gets you behind the scenes, so that there may be another level of value, and I don't know exactly what that is, but that's what we're kicking around, and so anyway.
Okay. I kind of envision a one-click member RSVP that's pushed to me by text, and I just say yes or no, and it functions as an RSVP.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and lastly, a one-click directly to a member, to make it real easy for me to communicate with just one member.
Okay.
What about the frequency of this particular mastermind? Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? What's anybody's thoughts on that?
Well, I'll speak up on that personally now, and I've been absent without leave a little bit recently, unfortunately, but I'll try to be better. I think regularity is important. To know that there's a meeting every week, whether we attend or not, it can be subject to other interferences or priorities with either our personal lives or our businesses. But knowing that it's here and that we can come to it and ask questions. But I think I like the one click directly to a member approach. And I think the responses pushed by text are things, and these are all things that I believe technologically can be incorporated into the website. It may require some proactivity on a more smarter person than I behalf, but these are some great suggestions coming up here, David.
Yeah, no, I'm digging this. This is good.
I'm taking good
again,
notes too today,
but
David.
that's part of what I do is I'm taking all these. I've got 2 pages already.
Good.
All these kind of like thoughts that you guys have given, and connecting those dots is what I do. So that's part of triangulating on some of this stuff. Because
so we already have a weekly meeting that we meet in person and online.
Right.
But I'd like to hear from everybody about this particular meeting right here, this mastermind. Should it be also weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? And when I first jumped in, I thought that having it less regularly would make it more special. What is the thing that we don't want? Another meeting.
Well, yeah, we don't want another boring meeting that has an agenda that goes on and on from week to week. But my observation in this meeting is there is no shyness in this group. And as we've seen today, people are very willing to put their ideas on the table. And I think we are doing brainstorming in real time. And I think that's one of the great aspects of this Warrior Networking group is that people are not shy.
I agree, but if I was the person
let
who
Ricky
was
finish
putting
his thought,
this,
Casey. Hold on.
so if I was the person putting this all together,
Right.
and I was investing my most valuable thing of time,
Mm-hmm.
and there was never any more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe people, and it never grew, what would I be thinking? Would I be thinking, am I wasting some of my valuable time because it's not something that's appealing to more than a handful of people? How would making it a monthly meeting make it a little bit special? Because we're not the one that's doing what Dave is doing. He's doing a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I appreciate that, and Ricky and I have talked a little bit about it. I'm really trying to find the balance and kind of, we've kind of thrown out both things. Obviously, we're doing it weekly now. We've been doing it weekly since 2015. So, a version of this, not just this, but I'm saying a version of this in some form, starting in the room with the lunch and learn to what it is today. So, in the weekly, how it came about is all what it is. I'm just looking for the thoughts. I'm not looking to come up with a decision.
Right.
I will make, probably with some input from other people, a decision, but I do think that's a valid question is where's the balance point?
Right.
We've suggested some other things that might have more value or additional value that maybe we ought to think about carving some space out of our, margin, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
out of our most valuable asset, which is all of our time. It's not just me, it's all of our time. And then how could we use it. Maybe this meeting, which is kind of like open to everybody,
Right.
and everybody comes, and we reduce the frequency.
But everybody isn't
And
coming.
then-
I think that's the question that he put on the table.
Right.
Well,
So maybe
same group of
that.
people.
So, but again, so I'm interested in any other thoughts on that. Randy, you've kind of weighed in. Don, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's frequency versus content / effectiveness.
Okay. So let's let Don has his hand up, Randy.
Okay,
So-
great. Go ahead, Don, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just started showing up again, but you know, I was popping in, you know, a little bit. What I'm not getting, are we talking about this meeting or your website?
We're talking about all the above. So the website,
Okay, so
this meeting is one component of Warrior Networking.
yeah.
So
So
the
for this
website
meeting,
yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
Is wanting to know, you know, what the subject is each week. And although you tend to publish that, it doesn't. When I've been here, it hasn't matched up. There was a bunch when you were excited about Be Connected, and it just seemed like you were always selling me Be Connected, and I was like, I don't want to do that. So it was
Yeah, well,
less a
that was
mastermind
a
and
while
more about
back.
you.
Yeah, but by the
Well, what
way,
I'm saying is that could be where people have gone. Because
yeah, I don't think that's well,
I stopped coming because that was the subject all the time.
right.
So what I would like to do is to know what the subject is, to stick to it, and to you know, have a guest speaker or you know, a roundtable on business problems. You know, those are good things. And as for the website, content is king on a website. So something that is going to generate content each week is what's going to help Vision Warriors. And that could look like something like you log in to get extra information and offers from people who are in the network.
Right.
So, for instance, you know, Donald, I'll offer a business card at half price for any member, or
Mhm.
a PDF on how to do your own social networking means, or, you know, you have contact information for all the members and offers. So that kind of stuff can grow.
Mhm.
And then you're giving away parts of that on the open website. So it's something that is going to always change content and not just show up for a meeting.
Yeah. No, that's
Okay.
good. That's actually that's why I say it's kind of all
I'm
the
hearing a lot of background noise from somebody.
Yeah, it sounds like a train whistle.
Is that
Someone's chattering and someone's ringing.
okay? So
Yeah, close
that-
your mics when you're not talking.
Yeah, that was yeah. I mean, I think that
So
was just.
I have a couple of suggestions. I think it was Randy who said, I like the continuity of having a weekly meeting, but it's really imperative that we all of us who show up, it's a lot of work on Dave's part, and we are very, very appreciative. But we also, those of us who are showing up, I want to leave after the meeting and say, gosh, that was good. I got something good out of it. Not maybe the whole time, but there was a nugget of information that I can really take it and work with it. We have to have that. Otherwise, we're not going to show up and we're not going to promote it. We could have a question posed on the website that we could answer. We could also ask for suggestions on who do you want to connect with? Who would be your best resource? Who could help you? You know, there's got to be some way that we can interact and help each other,
Right.
not just here, but if you can't make a meeting. I know that we've been promoting the 7 streams of income or 5 streams of income.
No, we're not promoting that. That's Rick's thing.
That's Rick. Yeah, that's Rick Russell.
And that's again, that's another question that we can put on the table. But there are other groups that do things, and there's other people in our network that, you know, whether they're chambers like Murphy Chamber, stuff that Rick's doing. There's some other folks that are on in other groups, and I try to help other people that are a part of this group if they're trying to, you know, if I can support their community. Right. So the 7 streams of income thing is a monetization thing for that group of people.
Right.
that is okay. It's great, but it's not technically what we're doing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm letting Rick do that.
Right.
And then if people find value in that, it's kind of narrowly focused. I mean, I've got Alan here. Alan's not part of that, but Alan's a financial planner. Luke is part of that. Okay, so that is a thing, but that's a good point, Casey. I just want to say, I'm not looking to go and do what other groups are doing when I can just outsource that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm an outsourcing.
We need unique value.
Look at best practices of other groups though, and ask other people what compels you to keep going to that one group. Are you getting referrals? Are you being a resource? What is it that compels you?
Right. And again,
We hating us together.
That's a good question. The point is, I'm looking to define really who we are and how we add value, and not, I mean, I can learn about, I believe in best principles, not best practices. And so there's fundamental things that we need to do. Donna suggested some about, I like on the website, maybe moving something to where after the content has been delivered, some way of actually making it more accessible or more available to people between meetings, so that they can come to the meeting, they can invest their time. But that's one thing I heard from Don that I thought is something worth considering, especially when we talk about investing in a website and having that as a resource. We need to kind of think beyond just what somebody does in a meeting or what they focus. So I'm looking for some other thought. Any other thoughts?
What if just as a thought, what if in each meeting we sort of brainstorm collectively what are hot topics that we'll call ourselves a leadership team, because we are the people that seem to show up most regularly. What do we think our people need? What are we hearing from the peeps, so to speak? And pick a few topics like Casey and David are suggesting, and then suggest that okay, next week we're going to talk about either this or that, and then people can prepare themselves for participation in that discussion. Questions, comments?
Okay, so I'm going to mute Alan for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
His phone's ringing. Bernie, what do you think? You've got. I think when we look at the spectrum, Don's been in business for a long time. By the way, Alan, I muted you so you can unmute if you want to talk. I just because your phone was ringing. So we've got some really, really good stuff here in terms of ideas and thoughts. What else? Let's expand my brain some more, because this is good stuff.
Have to go, guys. See you next.
Kid.
Okay, Casey, enjoy your veterans thing, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. No, not tomorrow. I'm at a health fair.
Right.
Oh well,
You're at the Sam
We won't
Johnson
see you
Recreation
tomorrow,
Center tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell Terenthia whatever I
Oh,
do.
great. Oh, thank you. I forgot.
Because of you, Casey, there's no bingo at SJRC tomorrow, so.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Come on, kid.
See ya.
Peace.
Bye.
One of the things that I think has held the Tuesday mornings back, so to speak, is that a lot of people are unfamiliar with the concept of what the Tuesday meetings cover. We've had a little bit of a shift from the lunch and learn style to now we're getting down to the specifics and particulars of how to grow the capabilities of the website and how to grow the capabilities of the meetings themselves. I wonder if we shouldn't leverage the membership rules so that you have to become exposed to this type meeting. So right now we need to attend 3 meetings, I think, is one of the membership requirements. Maybe only 2 of those can be the regular Wednesday meeting, and at least one has to be a Tuesday meeting, even though it's virtual.
Okay.
Maybe if people were exposed to it, and they would have a larger takeaway in their minds of what it could mean to them in terms of expanding their business opportunities, or at least expanding their networking.
That's a great, you stimulated a great thought, is regarding one of the things I kind of rattled off in the beginning, and Alan came back to it, which is, thank you, Alan, for doing that, is the concept of, membership. There's this balance, right? And I think we all, everybody that's here right now, we kind of understand this. It's accessibility versus investment. And what, we want it to be a very, one of the things this group has been is intended to be a very low financial threshold and a very low commitment threshold, if you will.
Right.
Am I making sense?
I think that's fair to say, David.
So it's $2 a week when you show up. If you don't, no harm, no foul. Whatever. We've tended to be that. Alan's kind of brought up, well, maybe we should do that. I'd be interested in expanding the thinking there. It's easy for me to say, okay, well, this is the way we've done it since 2014, but are there other ideas? So that's
David, what you just said, the thought pops into my head is, as a result of what we have done and the guidelines, if you will, that we have set, is there no requirement for commitment, mental, physical presence, or otherwise? And so do people kind of like just take it sort of laissez-faire, and as a result, they're not participating as much, and they're also not getting as much out of this group as they could.
Yeah, and that's the balance point that I think that Alan hit on.
Right.
Is, we want to have the impact,
right,
but we don't get the impact if people don't really participate or invest in it themselves. Right. So Bernie, go ahead.
We might consider a $2 a week auto pay, whether or not you attend the meeting, at all. It's we're $2 a week, whether you show up or not, and it's auto pay.
Why do you think that would help, Bernie?
It's more of a commitment. It's more of an incentive. I pay for this every week. I might as well show up. And then it would create a kitty for maybe an upgraded professional presentation. We could, somebody might sell their ideas for $100 an hour or whatever, and occasionally we would be able to afford that individual to come and do a presentation to the group.
Okay.
That's again, no idea is bad.
Yep, right.
This is a mastermind. I'm trying to get
brainstorming.
So this is
okay. I have an idea.
Go ahead.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
What if we did have this meeting like this once a month, and you're required to either be there or watch it afterwards as part of our requirement for membership? Either be at that once a month online meeting or watch it afterwards.
I think if it's once a month, you need to be there, because watching it afterwards, there's no interaction. So we don't know what they think. They're not contributing to the group, and we're not getting the effectiveness that we could from the great minds that are participating.
But Bernie or somebody said something. Maybe it was Alan. If you're exposed to it, then maybe you want to come. All you're doing is listening to it, and
I hear you.
That way you got exposed to it, and then, oh wow, I didn't really know it was like that. Maybe I should try to be there and put my thoughts in.
But if they can't attend the meeting, and again, I'm being a skeptic here, what's to say that they would watch the recording of the meeting afterwards?
Yeah,
and
so
have the reaction that you just
okay,
said.
so in the rules of brainstorming, because we are kind of doing this in a
Right.
brainstorming
Yep.
fashion, is we're not gonna edit the ideas. I
Right.
want to get all the
Okay.
ideas on the
Good point.
so I don't want to necessarily debate. I'm writing everything down you guys are saying. I'm going to go back and look at the recording too. So, Don, go ahead. You're on mute. I think I'm not hearing you anyway. Don, your lips are moved.
Yeah, that's a good idea for the website, because you can post all the videos there, and you can go back and see old stuff there for meetings that you might have missed, and hopefully it will. It's not going to make it more interactive for them, but they can go back and watch all that stuff. And I'd like to encourage people to travel through the website and show up here. And
Okay.
And if they missed because they were out of town or whatever, they at least have access to it should they choose to.
But yeah, if you make it part of the requirements, to visit this meeting once and check it out.
Right.
As part of the Vision. That way you're making a membership in all of Vision Warriors and not just RPN Pancake House.
Right.
What could we do more? This is kind of a thought too, is I'd like, as opposed to just the networking meeting / website itself, but what if would you as a business owner and Bernie or Alan or Ricky Jean or Don, if we had this as part of our process today, when you talk about networking, you have a 30-second, which basically is the beginning of people knowing who you are, right? And then we have one-to-ones, which is, they may like you after your 30 seconds, but for the most part, there's some informal engagement between people. And then there is the one-to-ones that we start to get a sense of what you do. And then over time, we develop trust. Is there anything from your angle of the beach ball, from your vision of what would be perfect that we could do to improve your investment? So really, in other words, is there a feature component? I think somebody suggested something like that, right? In terms of we could feature financial or, would there be value to that? So when everybody comes to let's say not just to the meeting, but to the website, there's maybe some featured members, or I'm not asking the question correctly probably, but I'm just saying what would be valuable? Is there any thoughts of things?
So what I'm hearing is, how do we highlight expertise or value added of the members without being a sales pitch? Just make people aware of the skills, the very, very strong skills and experience that we have with the members in this group.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at, is there's so much untapped value.
Right.
And I get so many questions because I happen to be, leading and, the visible person a lot of times in these meetings, and people reach out to me. Well, I'm really looking for somebody to do this. For example, I've got some real issues I need to talk to Bernie about, and Cheryl Akers, and a few people about senior care, memory care, some of that kind of stuff, right? It would be nice to know when I showed up, if I had something like that I was looking for, because timing is everything, right?
Right.
It's not, if I don't happen to show up in the meeting where Alan's giving his talk or his 30 seconds, I don't even know he exists, right? So is there something we could do in our value proposition if we added the website, if we added some other processes and connecting the thing? That's where that question. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's building the website so it connects up the members to their meetings, to their offer, so that I get value for myself by joining your network, and you
Right.
get value by bringing people. So if you click on Don Huff, it has my website link. It has my warrior interview, or, you know, regular member. Maybe you know which members were on each. You know, there's a database of information that can be pulled together, and an offer from that person. And so, like, I'm going like, damn, my business is struggling. Let me see what Randy's offering, or
Right.
I need some music at my networking. I got a warrior party coming up for Christmas. And, you know, like, I need to call Ricky.
Right.
Or, you know, I don't know what's going on with my insurance. I'm like, oh yeah, there were some guys. Alan, yeah, I'm just gonna click on him. And I'm like, oh yeah, Bernie is the guy who, you know, took care of my parents for a while until they resisted too much.
So Don, what I'm hearing,
So
if
it
I
all
understand you
connects.
correctly, is how do I understand the value proposition of each of the members, so that I can leverage it in my personal life, my business life, my career, whatever. How do I make myself aware of all those things other than by just listening to the 30-second pitch?
Which is,
Right.
yeah,
So you go to the website and
Right.
you get a list of members. I can click on any one of them and it pulls up the basic information.
Right.
And it, you know, it's my content is on his website too.
Right.
Right. And it could be something as simple as a link. By the way, the whole, I'm a big outsourcer. In other words, I'm not, like I told Casey before she left, I'm not looking to redo what other groups are doing. I'm also not looking to redo your website. I'm not looking to redo what we can get out of Meetup or out of Facebook or any other social media site. And I'm also in the social business aspect of, Be Connected, what we're doing here. I want to leverage as much of that as possible. So I'm really talking about, kind of bringing it together. So that's brilliant, Don. Thank you for for that thought, because it was pinging around in my brain about I think there's some more intention that for those that are choosing, and again, it's a network, right, that have chosen to invest their most valuable asset in this network. And you come to meetings, and maybe you don't come to every meeting, right? Maybe you come once a week, once a month. I'm not that as concerned about that, but you are part of the community. You are part of the fabric of this network. And so I want, because of that, for you, everybody that's here and everybody that sees this replay and everybody's in the network tomorrow when we're in our meeting, to feel like, okay, I'm investing here. I'm not just spending time in this meeting, and if nobody shows up, it's an issue. I've now invested it, and I get recurring value of that. People can find me, they can know what I do, what Don was saying. They can look at maybe some of I invest value, in getting your message out. I do the Warrior versus Zombie podcast, and I tell your story, your value, that kind of thing. That could be inherently part of being part of the group, which is why I started doing the podcast in the first place, was because I felt a lot of people have it. But it's not just the podcast, right? If we have a website, that can reside. And when somebody clicks on Don Huff, who's a premium member, and I'm just saying, I don't know what that looks like.
Ooh, premium.
I like that.
Don is a premium member of the group in terms of, or a sponsor. I know EDN uses sponsors. They use things to fund some additional enhancements. That, not that they're doing this, they just, their value proposition is they can't collect more money than they need, and they give a big chunk of it to charity. Well, I do that at my church, and I support probably 35% of what comes into my coffer goes out anyway. So that's, I'm all about that, but I'm not necessarily looking to duplicate that either. What thoughts do you have beyond? I think that's a good path. We've got a few more minutes. What else do we have around that. Bernie's nodding his head. Did you have any thoughts, Bernie, there with that? Because you're a very established business. You've got your shtick down when it comes to networking. What and you've got a website and you've got a staff and you've got some of these things. I'm curious as to, from your angle of the beach ball, if we had these things and you go to other groups as well, what would be value add in your world?
Okay. If you had a way of collecting up best interest in best business practices, okay, somehow the membership team could channel those into you. I think we're just on spotlights. I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of the group's expertise.
Right.
So I think we could possibly swap out the spotlight for volunteers on business topics. Okay, that's one option. Or sometimes we don't have anyone who wants to volunteer for spotlights, and we could plug in a best practice volunteer.
Okay.
Could you just expand on that a little bit, Bernie, please?
Yes, sir. All of us have gone through some training to become experts at something. You know, business experts. We do something well in business. And everybody does. And we could swap when we have an opening for the spotlight. We might push out a call. We have a list of those individuals and what they wouldn't mind talking about, and we just ask them to fill in with a best.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Or we could.
I think that fits with the general discussion here.
Yeah, great idea. I think that there's again, all these have a lot of merit, guys. So don't gauge by my reaction. I'm just writing things down here, and I'm gonna do, like I said, this is an effort in creative procrastination, in that I'm trying to collect more data because I have all this stuff pinging around in my brain, but my brain's not big enough to hold all these ideas. So you guys are helping me a lot.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's why you're here. I need your brain to go with mine. What else? This is really good, guys.
I've taken a lot of notes.
Yeah. What other thoughts does anybody have? Bernie, that was awesome. Ricky, you got anything else? Ricky, can I ask you kind of, here's the thing that you're going to find that I'm super ignorant on, and I shouldn't be, but I am. So I'm just going to ask you, when it comes to automating, this is one thing that I'm struggling with. It does take some time, and I want it to just be kind of a thing. And Bernie hit on it. Is if I wanted to automate payment, doesn't necessarily mean $2. I don't want a weekly transaction. I'm thinking that, there's some place in between. And maybe it's two, and again, I don't want to solve the problem. I'm just asking for some thoughts about this. Is maybe it's once a month, once a year, this, that, different, how hard is that to do from a payment standpoint, from a merchant services standpoint, essentially given it's online? What are your thoughts, Ricky, being in that space?
Well, you don't have to have a merchant services contract to do that.
Okay.
You can, but you can actually take your PayPal or your Venmo account and set that up where you are deducting $10 a month from and it just happens over and over and over until that person stops it. And I know this can be done. It can be done on that monthly basis. It can be done. You can go to a website, So I'm in two other groups. One of them, you go to a website and pay yearly if you want to. Another one, they take, and these are both Venmo things.
Right.
And the other one is they just deduct $10 a month out of my Venmo account instead of me going and doing it myself. But both of those things were set up by John Spilatopoulos. He just set it up like that, and boom, it was done. You know.
Why, David? I'm curious as to why is this an important issue for you?
Because I've got a briefcase full of dollar bills, Randy.
Okay.
I've got people paying me, and by the way, I'm not, again, I haven't.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah, I haven't focused on it because, frankly,
It hasn't been the driving force.
Well, and it won't be. The money is not the
Right.
driving force for me,
Right.
because if I wanted to focus on money, I've told people that are friends of mine, they know that I decided 18 years ago to retire from corporate America when I was getting paid $1 million a year. If that was my focus, I would go back to doing that.
Right.
But what I really want to focus on is impact. So what we're talking about today is I want to focus on, do I impact you? But I also don't want what you pay to sustain the group or pay the website, because we're gonna, if we once we get the website, I'm paying somebody on a monthly basis to maintain the website and to keep it going. I'm not doing that. I'm not inspired. That's going to be outsourced. So I'm doing that. So I want to think about how to do that to where I'm not having to say anything. I mean, financially,
Right.
somebody shows up, they're here. They can be a guest. They don't have to, they don't have to show up to pay first and then show up. There's all kinds of things pinging around in my brain. So yeah, the reaction, good reaction. Why do I care? What's the reaction to that? What Ricky said. Go ahead, Bernie.
I have to confess that I left out a little bit of sleight of hand I like the weekly bite. Because it's a small amount of money, and it doesn't create an awareness that you're paying maybe $100 a year annualized.
Right,
So,
right.
I wanted to confess to that.
Okay. Well, that does make it less own. So that's great feedback. I mean, because that is essentially, I think, the way people show up. It doesn't say. It just says we charge, it's $2, but when people show up to the in-person meeting, they may or may not have the $2, and I don't worry about that. And again, I'm not necessarily, that's where I was kind of going with this. I'm not necessarily going to change that mindset, especially for what I would call the on-ramp, if you will, to the network. The question then becomes people that are regularly there, Alan Diamond, for example, and hopefully I'm not, picking on you, Alan, but Alan just says, here's $100 for the year. And that way I don't have to think about it. So there's certain people that are already, they've made the decision. They're further down the path, if you will. And they're the people that I see every week. They're what I call the leaders, the core, whatever you want to talk about. And if we had something that was more, quote, automated, that might actually make it easier for those folks. Ricky, go ahead.
Okay, so the group that has it set up that you can do it annually, when you do that, then you become a special sponsor. You get something for that. Okay.
Okay.
And the other one, there's no one who collects money at this other meeting.
Right.
So if you're going to be a part of that group, well, then you sign up for that $10 a month. That's the only way it's done. There's nobody collecting any money.
Okay.
So it is 99.9% effective because that's the only way to do it.
Okay. Well, and again, that has pros and, again, all those have pros and cons. So but
is money an issue for us?
Well, here's the thing. It's not the money necessarily. it's the hassle of the dollars, collecting it, gathering
it's a
up like,
distraction.
yeah, I've got all this
let
money
me
in my-
answer
in my
the
briefcase,
question, Randy, that you asked. And again, the intention wasn't necessarily answer all the questions. Intention is getting the ideas and the questions on the table. The thing is, if we're going to take it to the next level, and I've got a paid coach that's coaching me, by the way, on this balance point, because I'm honestly, emotionally, and whatever, I need other thoughts. I need other people outside my own head that are worth paying. And one of the things they said is, if we want to pursue providing more value, like being able to do, nothing's free, guys. I mean, if I ask Don to do a book cover, it's going to cost me something. If I'm going to ask Bernie to take care of my family member, it's going to cost me something. If I'm going to ask Ricky, I need to pay Ricky for his entertainment value and his,
Right.
I actually pay him to be a friend, so I need more friends. So, let him beat me at golf once in a while. My point is simply that if we have more, we can do more. So to get beyond our comfort zone and just say, okay, we're just turning the crank, like with any endeavor, if we had a little more margin, we could try a few more things. We could do a few more things. We could pay people as opposed to just saying, hey, can you do this and volunteer to do this for the group? Maybe I could hire Don to do a bunch of graphic stuff. Maybe I can hire somebody
Good point.
to do professional headshots for the people in the group, so that when we feature them on the website, that they don't look like some ragtag group of people, that we have very professional people.
Dirty dozen.
Right?
The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, we could do some cool stuff. So yes, so that's kind of the thought. That's why I kind of like, at least the thinking around that is to kind of, I'm still not, I'm getting it. So what other thoughts? We got about 3 minutes.
I got to speak my mind here. I'm just a little concerned that we've had an hour's worth of discussion on some very esoteric and important topics, and somehow we're ending on money.
It's because the way we're collecting the money is a time-eating animal.
Okay. All right. Okay. That I can relate to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ricky.
Okay. So any other thoughts? This has been awesome, by the way. And I don't think anything here is esoteric. I think everything here has been extremely valuable, and it's thought provoking. And that was what I was hoping and praying for. And you guys have helped me a lot in that, because I've got, like I said, now 4 pages of things. And I know Randy's got probably at least 4 himself.
Very
what other
good,
thoughts?
Dave. So you going to send us $2 each?
Yeah.
Cut to the chase, Don.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
Put us down as paid for this week.
There you go. We all
Yeah.
get 1 week's free membership.
Well, actually, it's interesting. That's another thought. That's actually, you threw it out there. It's kind of funny, but maybe there is a value investment that comes from people serving the group. In other words, it could be transactional. Hey, I can offer you this service, or maybe I'm providing this service to the group, and the group collectively gives you a little bit of a, stealing the 7 streams of income. Maybe one of your streams of income is I provide what I do for one-to-one clients to my network.
Right. It's a good thought.
That's possible. It's not an unreasonable thing to think about, right? I mean, I'm trying to break out of my own brain.
No. Maybe there should be a list of expenses shown every now and then. Like, I think some people think that meetup is free.
Yeah.
Right.
It ain't free.
That's a good point. Well, if we start doing the structure again, I don't want to get too deep into the how, but once we start doing some of the things we're talking about, if we really go forward with that, with what I would like to do and make it more, quote, business, then I will probably have a board. I may create it I don't have a nonprofit. I'm talking to the new Julie, whatever, the new person in our group that's been showing up about business structure and those kinds of things to think about. Maybe we need to be a little more formalized, as opposed to, it's not for profit, but it's not for loss. We're just, doing it $2 at a meet. I mean, if we get into that more structure, then I think there needs to be a little more reporting or whatever. And, again, I hate accounting, by the way, just so you know. So it wouldn't be me. I'll probably get somebody that wants to either help, with the bookkeeping or whatever and do it. But we don't have that right now. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. Any other thoughts? That tomorrow's meeting, please show up. We're not gonna get into this level of depth, but we are going to talk about some of the questions that have been thrown out. The frequency one of this meeting, we're going to do another one next week, but I am considering the quote, just standing free version of this being less frequent because as Ricky pointed out, it does, investing and getting speakers. I'm also, some of the speakers that we can bring and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think that through. I mean, it's been an evolution. So I'm still toying with that, but I do appreciate everybody weighing in and giving me some, a bunch of things to think about. Any other last thoughts?
Yeah, David, I may be wrong on this, but this is just my view. It sounds like what we've got here is a leadership team that could help you in leading and guiding and implementing a lot of the things that we've talked about today.
Well, that was the thing that we didn't get to that I was going to throw out is I am looking for ideas around who and how to engage folks. We've got a leadership team quote that we have there, but we need to get more structure. If we're going to structure that, we need to structure more roles. We need to talk about, from a board or leadership standpoint, do we pay people? Do we not pay people? What's the that kind of stuff. And I'm not locked in on anything. I know,
right.
Chambers do that. Other people do that. There's volunteer roles. There's paid roles. Those are all questions that we maybe need to revisit or need to continue with next week.
Dave, Dave, I'll work for pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think